Here we go. It's another week for the J&A
It
show.
has to go. You got to do this
I
on.
think every time, I don't even know what I'm doing, but
It's a different version every
it's
time,
a
man.
different version. I was a little bit more
I mean,
urban.
sometimes it's a different key.
Addie's got to step up her game and get that cut and get that out there ASAP. So Andy and Jared are back. We're gonna wrap a little bit about like data depth. I think like it's easy
Yeah.
to assume, like the categories that we put our buckets together in, or different areas of data. Like, can I dig in a little bit further? Could I add a element to separate me from the agent next door, when I'm ultimately prospecting for listing or seller leads, right?
Yeah.
So when Andy and I were rapping about, what to talk about, he's like, hey, let's talk about, how deep can we dig in with the data? And I'm like, that's a good question. It's kind of a double-edged sword, for someone like us. Like, if you open up that can of worms, it could, lead to a lot of talk and not a lot of, end result. But when you find the right partnerships and the right relationships with people that really want to dig in and understand the data and how it can benefit them or take that lead to the next level, like we do with Swift Homes and some of these other larger data groups, the sky is kind of the limit. So, maybe
I
we
mean,
can.
candidly, dude, like even smaller stuff, like what you guys do with me is far beyond what any other data providers are going to end up doing. And I'm not a big data puller, but
Right.
I know what questions to ask and how to manipulate that a little bit more.
Totally.
Like the flexibility you guys have is far and away better than honestly any other data provider that I can see. So
Well, I appreciate that. And why would you say that? Just because of
I mean, just to cut straight through all of the crap and get to the heart of this thing. I mean, there are so many companies that tried to do the whole predictive analytic side of it. Listen, when it comes to real estate agents or honestly mortgage brokers and insurance agents or anybody else who's pulling data, you guys know what clients that are going to be the ideal. So you guys are going to sit there and say, okay, well, likely to sell. If you go to any other competitor that is trying to do a predictive analytic likely to sell list, they don't tell you what it is. They
right.
have their canned, this is what we're going to pull, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it. And oh, by the way, we're not going to tell you. It's
Right.
going to be this is our predictive analytics, and you have no say inside of any of it.
It's a lot of fluff and not a lot of
Not
do.
a lot of show, man. I mean, and I
Yeah.
can I can I can name the companies, and I don't want to do that. I won't do that.
We're not that popular yet.
No, I mean, but like
No, I'm kidding.
I just I don't want to
You
name
don't have
drop
to.
with it. But at the same time, like where I can come to you guys, even when before it was you and me having all these conversations, it was me and Sean.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah.
And I would go to him and say, hey, listen, can we pull something where yes, the likely to sell, but let's narrow it down a little bit more. Let's say that it's 7, no more than 15, because after 15, we hear that they're going to carry them out of the house.
No, that is.
Let's do it
Yeah.
so that they have to have 40% of equity in their homes. Let's do it so that they have to have certain credit scores. Let's do it so that they have to have whatever, like, or a family event had to happen in order to make it on the list.
Yeah.
Like, you guys have that opportunity to do that and work with the agents or the insurance brokers or mortgage brokers in order to get that stuff, where everyone else, man, is you get the hamburger with the cheese on it. You get no ketchup, mustard, mayo, or anything else.
No substitutions. Yeah. No soup for you. You
Yeah,
like
no soup
you
for
walk
you.
in line, you move down the aisle, and you're like, yeah.
That's so great.
Totally. So to kind of tie this in, how it can benefit. Open the. Yeah. It looks like who's
Yeah,
having
open that up, man.
someone's having white claws. But the to kind of use this as an agent for benefit here, like here are some ideas that I have maybe to kind of change change some things up. And you kind of brought some of them up with length of residence from 7 to 15. After 15 years, people don't want to move. But the property value in some cases, maybe you want to start with 150,000 and above, or cap it at 750,000. So home value becomes an element that you can utilize for customization. Another one that seems to be hot in certain states, that's a touchy subject, but is political affiliation. We do have a lot of our California agents, going after conservative homeowners that have
That's
the likely to sell flag. So yeah, political
That's interesting.
affiliation was a good one, which is kind of fun. But here's another one that I haven't brought up, but it kind of came to fruition for me because I live with someone that I've been married to for 21 years. But targeting the female head of household maybe instead of the male
Huh.
in these situations. So you could be a female agent that has a better rapport with the head of household, the lady first, and starting that engagement. So you could even filter
That's
as
crazy.
targeting. So yeah, even as mild as someone. It might limit the lead, but a lot of the records and a lot of the mortgages and a lot of the deeds do have the female and the male as a head of household. So there's some ways for us to pull some different data sets that way. And that just kind of came to me when I was brainstorming some ideas to kind of talk about that would benefit the actual agent that
Yeah.
why you and I are getting together and doing it.
Yeah. I think some of the stuff too, like when we were talking about, like, can we pull some buyer lists?
Yeah.
Right. So renters or first time buyers and going after that list. And then again, even going to the point where, like, if you were to buy a renter list from honestly any name brand provider as it stands
Sure.
right now, sure, they'll give you a renter list, but honestly, like, you're better off just going to Craigslist and posting something on Craigslist,
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
where you
We try
guys
to
can
use
go down all the way.
credit score,
Yeah.
occupation, length of occupation,
Income levels.
income levels. Another one that's becoming quite popular with some other companies they talk about, like bullseye marketing or rooftop radius marketing. So let's say you have a listing, or your competitor has a listing in a neighborhood or a hot neighborhood. We could run a 0.2, 0.1 mile radius, or as low as a 0.1 mile radius around that listing or that house that was sold, with some criteria on it, right? People that have been there longer than 5 years, or people
Yeah.
that this and that. So knowing that you can really target a neighborhood with specific criteria, helps with the quote unquote numbers game,
So
when you're out.
you and I keep teasing on this stuff too. So obviously we have a couple things in the works that we're doing on the digital side with the marketing that we're
Yeah.
still beta testing through, and getting to know, like, the actual stats and actual data inside of it. What's the ideal, like, in your opinion, what's the ideal quantity? So, like, we're talking about narrowing down the data, right?
Right.
Is there a data set that's too small?
Yeah, I do think so. Like for the application that our customers use the data, I think it's there's a certain number, a certain threshold to find some success. It could be 500 records, and you call the first 100 and you get some traction, but you could also call the first 500 with no traction. So to me, it's around that 2,500 to 5,000 range. It
Yeah.
seems overwhelming, but if people are calling it at a dedicated time at a weekly rate, you're going to go through that pretty quick. And we hear, day in and day out, someone that calls through 3,000 leads gets, 3 to 4 listings, so,
Mhm.
on average. And that's like the ROI that I can, hang my hat on and enjoy, when I turn my computer off at night. So it's just finding that right, 3 to 5,000 records, I think, to start with. When I first started doing this, we were selling 25,000 records at a time. We'd be like, oh, here's,
Yeah.
let me run your credit card for $5,000 or whatever
Yeah.
it was. And then we started honing in and being like, no, that's not fair to the customer. Let's dial it down and start at a smaller batch with, with the feedback of the success that they can have. And every week we have repeat customers because they're doing the process. They're, actively working the leads. I think I heard something in a conversation the last week. It takes 18 touches, dude, to convert a lead, into a customer, man. So the work really isn't done, on my end. It's more done on your end as a coach, but we are literally laying the groundwork for that success. And it's not easy, but
Mhm.
we all, should know, most of us, and the ones that are successful with it know that life's not easy. You're not going to find a shortcut. There's no, magic potion that you can just go, sham. We already went through that last year
Damn.
with the houses selling as fast as they were, right? Now, the cream rises to the top, and
That's
we
exactly
all
right.
have to, kind of hold ourselves accountable,
That's exactly right.
with business, dude. And that's what pays the bills. So
Yeah.
I think it's shit, man. Another good successful rant by the J and A show. So
Heck yeah,
we'll
dude.
talk again in the next couple of weeks, and maybe we'll dig into the digital piece and kind of what that looks like from a number of records. I think that's a different number of records than the calling. So there's a lot more wormhole we can go down, but we can definitely discuss that too. So anyone
Yeah.
has any questions, comments, share the love, and we'll keep this train rolling.
As always.
Much love, brother.